Welcome to the Deucecast Extra, back for episode 3 of Yellowstone, season 3. It's Mikey and Dr. Earl here. Your perennial hosts of the Deucecast movie show, but we're also trying to do a little YouTube action here and get the YouTube channel going a little bit. So, as the kids say, please be sure to like, share, comment, do it all so we can try and get some more people watching us on YouTube. We lost. Okay, Earl's back.
We lost signal there for a minute.
Yeah, we lost signal. Somebody cut the feed there, so that was sort of scary. So episode 3 really is an episode that I think things are starting to pick up.
Good.
I really enjoyed it. A couple things, just observations. You know, the last 3 episodes for me, John Dutton has been sort of melancholy. He's sort of been introspective. He's been spending a lot of time with his grandson Tate, which is great. I like all of that, but I also miss the John Dutton that is getting in trouble all the time. That is the John Dutton from season 1 and 2. That just doesn't mind getting his hands dirty, and I've missed that. But I think I feel that we're going to be getting there with episode 4.
He's getting some news on this episode.
That's right. What's some of the stuff that you liked, or maybe or even disliked? I mean, there wasn't any, like, off the top of my head, thinking about things that I maybe disliked. I mean, I sort of mentioned it. I'm like tired of John Dutton not really being involved in all the action. It's been really focused on what Beth is doing with Rourke, and really focused with Jamie. Right. You know, and his new job basically as the livestock commissioner. And so I've been, liking that, obviously, but I want more John Dutton. So, but it's because I love it's Costner. It's because it's Costner, man. I can't help it. I love Kevin Costner. So, what about you? What's some stuff you liked or maybe disliked about the episode 3?
Yeah, I liked Jamie being a little more forceful and being a little more like he's letting more of his it seemed like the first 2 seasons he was always screwing up.
Oh yeah,
always letting the family down. Mm-hmm. Seemed kind of weak in some ways, and he really had a big issue last season when he kills this girl. And anyway, but this time you start to go, okay, wait a minute. Now he is a lawyer, and he does know how to play the game. And so there's that whole scenario where there's something that's gone wrong from last. I feel like I'm trying to keep spoilers out of. We don't have to do that.
We're not.
His deputy game, whatever. Mm-hmm. What is this position?
Livestock commissioner.
Deputy livestock commissioner goes down at the end of last week and is going to rough up some guys that are pretty rotten guys. I mean, they've been beating up women at these shows, kind of using them and beating them and really beating them up. And so they're going to put them in the back of this trailer, just to kind of recap last week, and sling them around. And the idea is that, you're just going to rough them up a little bit. Well, they ended up breaking their necks, unfortunately. And this guy goes to jail. And so when he comes in as the lawyer and he starts crafting this whole story,
it's good stuff.
I was like, whoa, Jamie's got some chops. He's not just always the bungler.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, I think that he is so tired of just being kicked around, and he's ready to take control of situations because he knows he can't let his dad down anymore. He can't let, John down anymore because he knows his dad won't take that crap. And so basically he is great in this episode. I mean, just slimy.
When he throws that thing at that dude.
Yes. I mean, that was like the sheriff. I mean, the sheriff comes into his office and he throws the thing at the sheriff. He tells the sheriff that he's recorded the conversation of the sheriff saying, make these. Learn a lesson. Teach them a lesson or whatever. And so it was cool to finally see Jamie, because I want to say we saw some of that in season 1, but he was so emasculated by Beth all the time, and then just it was starting to screw up all the time. I mean, and it
Yeah.
was just one of those things where you were kind of sad for the guy, but at the same time, he couldn't get it out of his own way. I mean, so you're like,
Yeah.
look, this guy, this guy deserves anything that he gets because he's so dumb in all these different situations.
I think,
but
well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I think they're making Beth a little less, she's almost been so conniving and so mean, like in the first 2 seasons, that I feel like they pulled her back a little bit, and now she's a little more, you care a little bit more about her. Cause I've always felt kind of like, whoa, she's like so broken and scarred and intense that you don't know which way she's going to go.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's one of those things that she's basically got PTSD about what happened to her at the end of season 2. Yeah, I mean, and so
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, and Melissa's right. I mean, the character development for Jamie, I mean, he's finally coming into his own out of necessity, though. Like, he knows that if he doesn't take control of this situation, that it's over for him.
Chance.
I mean, yeah, this is really like his last chance.
He may take the long drive with Rip.
Yeah, exactly. And so and you never want to take that long drive.
No, you don't
when you have to take the long drive with Rip, you know it's over.
To the train, that's bad.
Yeah, you know it's over.
Train.
So we get to find out. Yeah, we get to find out more about this company that has come in.
Yes.
And they change their plans, and they still want to build the airport, but now they want to build it on Yellowstone, which is the Dutton's Ranch. It's not the national park in this case, but it's the Dutton's Ranch. And so really, it's things are escalating badly in that area, because this guy that comes into the governor's office really has a good pitch. I mean, he's like, do you want
to make this money, this revenue?
Do you want Wyoming to be what it can be? Do you want this area? Montana. Do you want this area of Montana to be the next big ski resort? Like a Jackson Hole or something like that. I mean, because it can be. But luckily, the governor is loyal to John Dutton. Well, I mean, who wouldn't be loyal to Kevin Costner? I mean, first of all, he's they
have a friendship. Well, they have a friendship.
Right. Yeah, if that's what you want to call it, a friendship. Right. No, I mean, and I know we're jumping way ahead. We're jumping it way ahead in the episode, but that one part when they're sitting at the rodeo, that is such vintage Kevin Costner. Just sort of I love that. That is a great scene. Just sort of like the playfulness that he is so well known for in movies like Tin Cup and stuff like that. Just the romantic comedies that he's been in the past. It's great. I loved that scene because, and I think I even laughed out loud when I saw it, because it reminded me of Kevin Costner of old. It was really, really great. What about you? What did you think of that scene?
Well, I liked that they were there kind of as a family, and that they were there. I really liked that they supported, and I always forget his name. What's the guy that's the...
you're Jimmy. You're talking about Jimmy.
Jimmy. I really liked that they... Now, I know there was going to be there's a reason they were going to go to that, to meet with her, but...
Right.
And that's part of Dutton's game, was to sort of force the governor to come. But I mean, I still think it was neat to see how excited he was that they came out to see him. So I really liked the Jimmy story as it led up, that he meets this girl.
Yeah.
That's kind of interested in him. And then, but of course, then tragedy, but
yeah, I mean, and we've seen Jimmy go through a lot of rough stuff as well. I mean, through the first 2 seasons, I mean, you get a lot of backstory, for Jimmy specifically as one of the ranch hands. We haven't seen everybody's backstory quite yet. I'm hoping we eventually get there, but because I think it's cool to get to see. I mean, that's the great thing with a series versus a movie. You have time to develop these characters,
Yes.
and Jimmy is one that we've followed quite a bit through the first 2 seasons, and
Yes.
I mean, this is really the first time in this particular season that we're getting to see him do too much. But oh yeah, and you know, back to that, it's the Costner smirk, like Melissa says. I love the Costner smirk. It's just perfect. I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, it's really great stuff. But yeah, yeah,
He's
exactly.
growling a lot in this one, but
But I love that that John didn't really give it, like, sort of gave him a hard time. He's like, oh, that's a hard way to make a living, because you know Jimmy wants to do rodeo, and he's really good. I mean, that's something that we find out in season 2, that he's really talented at this particular sport. He has got a knack for it, exactly, which is funny because he was so not. I mean, he was like a meth. No, he was like a meth head, basically. I mean, he was like a drugged out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he was like a drugged out guy. I mean, and he's just developed into a really good ranch hand, and one of like the number one guys on the Dutton's ranch. So so talk about Beth and Rourke. We have another great scene with them together.
Well, once again, he's in the river, and this is Josh Holloway.
Yeah.
She, she comes and confronts him and says, "Wait a minute, I thought you said." So I guess we should back up. Beth had a sort of the secretary for the governor sort of alerted Beth. I guess it's kind of almost like her little spy in the governor's office. That this conversation was going on about going after the Yellowstone ranch, and so she comes toward him, and it's a great scene. I mean, I just remember he just kind of lays it on the line for her. He doesn't seem to be fazed by her. Of course, she's angry, and you know she's pulling her Beth tricks, and it's not making a whole lot of water with the dude. But
no, and
what was your favorite part?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because that's the first time that we have really seen a person be able to sort of stay with Beth, like, and handle her. Because she's usually really aggressive, right? With especially when it comes to business dealings, she's really, really aggressive when it comes to that type of stuff. But like you said, I mean, Rourke was like not having any of it. I mean, he basically,
he countered everything she threw at him.
Oh, sure, he countered everything that she threw out, and then he basically laid down the law and said, "Look, you go to your dad, you tell him what we're going to do, and bring me an offer, or we're gonna be in a fight." And he said, I can fight. I mean, we can handle it. He's got this huge business conglomeration behind him. And he's basically like, you know, Beth, that I've got all the lawyers in the world behind me, and we have all the money in the world. Do you have all the money in the world? And Beth knows. I mean, and that was an interesting scene, if you recall, kind of like it wasn't right at the beginning, but Beth out on the porch and Rip going to work. I think Beth is really, really afraid that this ranch is not going to be a dream anymore for her dad.
I think even last week she knew that they were going to come after their land. So she's been disturbed by it. What was that thing that Rip said to her? Oh, she said something like, you know, you're smarter than you look, or something. Something. And he goes, well, you look, I don't know,
as smart as you should, or something. I mean, it was a good line. It was a good little back and forth between them. And that reminds me of the scene at the rodeo where, you know, she's trying to hold Rip's hand, and Costner's Costner's like, please,
guys, go ahead, do it.
Please go ahead and hold hands. And he's like, what do they think? I don't know everything that goes on at this ranch. I mean, that was such a classic. Again, I mean, Costner was he was really good in this episode. You know, like I said, I mean, I'm getting kind of bored with the stuff with he and Tate, but it's been good for Tate, especially because you know what he went through in the last season. This has kind of been like a rehabilitation for him. Just as a little kid to have to go through being kidnapped and go through that trauma, and be able to be back in a situation out in the wilderness with his grandfather, and John has done a really good job of just sort of letting whatever needs to happen on this trip, which, sometimes could mean just taking a walk together and having a good
Yeah.
conversation, or telling him about what the wolf is wanting to do with the baby antelope, or the baby elk, I'm sorry. That type of thing. I mean, it was all those scenes are really great, but I'm ready for John Dutton to get his hands dirty again.
Really, and Casey has not done much this time
No,
either.
no.
Casey, he's been kind of like with his dad, kind of like really kind of being the faithful son with John
Right.
Dutton. Wasn't there an exchange right at the end where the governor says, "Why don't you make him the
Very
deputy?"
important exchange, yeah, because what she wants to happen is for Jamie to become the attorney general, because the attorney general, we find out he only has 3 weeks left and he wants to retire.
Oh, that's right.
So the governor, in order to try and figure out a way to save the ranch, because she doesn't, I think that she is in love with John Dutton and does not want to see this ranch go the way of being bought by a big conglomeration. So her plan is to move Jamie from the livestock commissioner into, like a deputy attorney general or something in that position, and then move Jamie, or not Jamie, move Casey into the livestock commissioner role, which he turned it down. He didn't want anything to do with it. And so much so that John was like, I'm not going to do that again. And she said, well, let me talk to him. So we sort of see, like, the preview for episode 4, that there's going to be an exchange between the governor and Casey about that position, because she's trying everything that she can.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's trying everything that she can to keep this ranch from getting sold. I mean, because I think she's in love with John Dutton. I mean, and it's tough on her because she's in a very powerful position, and he is, he's played dirty in the past, in general, to keep his ranch, going. I mean, they said earlier that this ranch has been like 5 generations, and throughout those 5 generations, and I think he even says this to Tate, that ranching is a dirty business, basically. Yeah, because Tate was like, I want to be a rancher, and he's like, you don't want to. He's almost like Harrison Ford in Star Wars with his like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, he's doing a voice like that. When I saw him do an interview, and he's talking in his old normal voice. So
yeah,
I think he's doing it to ranch it up a little bit.
Well, to ranch it up a little bit, but also he was really sick in season 2. I mean, John was. He got really sick and, I mean, almost died. I mean, so
they had to cut him open.
They had to cut him open, yeah, like a hog.
Medical wise, that was
medical wise. Talk about that. I mean, would he have really survived the way that he did with that?
I don't know. That was I don't know if that was necessary. If they had a helicopter right there and they could, I don't know. Maybe in Montana you do that. You just got to go for it.
You just got to go for it.
So what about Teeter and Colby? Now they got Tate or whatever her name is.
Oh my gosh!
Colby had to sit back there with her. And are they trying to make an event there? Maybe like a Tolby or because his name's Colby, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The ranch,
the ranch hand.
Or a Keeter or a Colby.
I don't think so. That character, I right now, I don't like that character very much. But I'm sure that she's going to play.
Watch the extra. The actress is very charming, actually.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm sure she is. Yeah. I mean, but I'm not a huge fan of that character right now, but I'm sure that character is going to have something important to do later on. I mean, they don't just randomly introduce a new character without them having something important to do. So, you alluded to it earlier a little bit, with Jimmy. He kind of didn't have his head in the game at the rodeo.
No. He said, you ever meet a girl and then your whole world immediately changes?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I thought that was really sweet. And he met that girl and she was just real taken with him, which
he's
never had any girl ever taken with him, and so he probably wasn't an old what's his name? I forget the name of the guy. Let's see. Hold on, I'm looking.
It's like his
Lloyd's his
father.
name.
Yeah, it's like his father
Yeah,
figure,
he's like,
basically.
Jimmy, you got to keep your head in the game. You know, he's
Right,
telling
right. Jimmy was a bit bit smitten.
Bill what?
Bit smitten.
He was yeah, no, he
Yeah.
was a smitten kitten, dude. But look, dude, when I was at it, well, anyway, that's a whole other story. I've had
No.
seasons of being that smitten, but but yeah, so I kind of enjoyed how they played that a little bit because,
Mm-hmm.
but then of course, well, before we get to that,
Yeah.
I like how the governor's like, look, I'm going to tell you something bad,
Mm-hmm.
or what was she? Will you go ahead and say yes to, or what, how did she say it? It was a really neat way she phrased it. I'm sorry, I saw it like almost 6 days ago, so.
No, I mean she basically was coming to him with, she was like, I've got a proposition for you. I'm gonna tell you the proposition first, and then
The bad stuff tomorrow.
I'm gonna tell you the bad stuff later. Either tomorrow. Tomorrow. I mean, and it's funny because throughout the whole episode, Jamie was scheming to try and basically get his guy out of jail. And there was a
He
really,
was,
he was doing some heavy scheming. There was a really great scene between him and the dad of the daughter that got beat up.
yeah, oh yeah,
And
yeah,
he was doing some major spin, like manipulating.
yeah,
But I mean, the dad was basically like, I want to take these guys out. And
yeah,
Jamie was like, well, what if you don't have to do that? Because we
yes.
already did it. And then he opens the trailer and you see all the blood and everything. And
Because
the
it's his
dad,
trailer, dad's
yeah, it's the
trailer.
dad's trailer. The dad cleans it all out. And
He's
he's
like,
like,
I won't
I will
say anything.
do, he's like, I won't say anything. My daughter won't say anything. And I owe you one. And of course,
Yeah,
Jamie's like, well, I might have to cash in on that someday. I mean,
yeah.
basically.
Jamie was really, yeah, he was playing hardball this whole episode.
But
It was,
then you get a glimpse when the governor calls him. You get a glimpse of
his
Jamie.
paranoia.
The paranoia. You get that glimpse of
He's
Jamie
like,
just.
does the governor know? What
It's
do they
just the
know?
governor, and in fact he calls the sheriff, and the sheriff is like, I'm
Yes.
done, and hangs up on
I
him.
didn't. The sheriff was like, "Look, I didn't tell her anything." You know,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
funny because it's not even about that.
It's not even
It's
about that. And so Jamie's super paranoid when he's talking to his dad and telling him that the governor wants to talk to him and everything. And so it really was a lot of
a good episode.
It was a great episode because it's moving the story along quickly,
Yes.
which is what you want to do in this type of show. I mean, because back in the day with like Dallas or something, or a show like that, they probably had like 20 something episodes in a season to develop the whole story. Nowadays at max they're going to have like 13 14 episodes. I mean, at the most. I mean, Doom Patrol, another show I watch, that had like 15 episodes in its first season, and I was really like, whoa, that's a lot of episodes, because nowadays it's just 10, crazy. 10 max. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Yellowstone, I think it got to at least 10. I mean, in the previous season. So I mean, we'll get some good time, and I think it's already been greenlit for a season 4. I think Taylor Sheridan was saying that they've got a plan to end it. It's not just going to be one of those shows that's going to go on forever. They've got an idea. Yeah, they've got an idea to a couple other seasons down the road to end the storyline. So that's good. I mean, you can't go on forever with these type of things. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode that ended in, we were saving it to the end kind of, but it kind of ended in tragedy. Jimmy was so distracted by this girl basically, and wasn't quite ready when they released the bull, or the horse, I'm sorry, when they released the horse, and you hear a horrible sounding noise, and then the ambulance comes. So, the episode,
I think he's going to be okay.
I hope so. It could be though that he's hurt real bad though, like paralyzed or something.
No, that's true. No,
yeah, I mean, it could be a really bad thing. I mean, these shows usually are pretty dramatic with stuff like that. So I'm not thinking that he's dead, but I'm thinking that he's going to be hurt really bad. to the point where he's not going to be able to work on the ranch. And so then kind of what happens?
What's
like
Dutton going to do?
yeah, what's John going to do? Is John going to keep him on? I mean, and help him through this process, which I think that he would. I speculate that he would, but I'm hoping that he's not. I'm hoping that
I think Rip.
Yeah,
I think Rip will advocate for him if that.
Oh yeah. I think all the guys would advocate for him, but I'm just hoping that they didn't kill the character off. That'd be really sad.
Well, so I watched this on Paramount Network. They have this thing called Tales from the Bunkhouse.
Oh,
and it's always Jefferson White and the guy who plays Colby, whose name is Denham Richards, and then one other of the ranch hand guys.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of break down the episode, and I didn't get a vibe from Jefferson, the actor who plays Jimmy. His real name's Jefferson White. I didn't get a vibe from him that he's gone. So
yeah, and like Melissa says here, she cringed really hard at the end. It was awful.
Oh, it's terrible.
It sounded bad. Yeah, it sounded really, really bad. Yeah.
Oh, because you were like so happy for him. He met a girl. Things were gonna be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I knew he was gonna get thrown. I was like,
yeah, it was not a good situation. Well, I think that's what we've got for episode 3. So thanks for everybody that is either watching it live. If you watch it live, please like the video, share it. Comments are always great. And then if you watch it later, like the video, share it, comments, and we can go back and watch them. Generally, it takes quite a while for the video to upload actually onto YouTube for people to watch it later. But those that are watch live, I really appreciate it. You know, Earl and I are co-hosts with Dave of the Deucecast movie show. So if somehow you're seeing this as a Yellowstone watch, but you've never heard of our podcast, go check our podcast out. We've got over 430 something episodes of the Deucecast movie show. And we love movies. And we love movies. And we are on RetroZap. And check out retrozap.com. That's kind of like our home base for the podcast. And then we're trying this new YouTube thing. So I really appreciate anybody that watched live. Thank you so much, Melissa, for commenting. And
Super fan Melissa.
Yeah, if you're commenting and stuff, I'll try and throw your stuff up there and we can talk about it. That's the great thing about this particular StreamYard service is it allows people to interact. So we really appreciate Melissa interacting while we were doing the episode. It was really fun for us. So check out the Deucecast's YouTube page. Please subscribe. That's the thing I was forgetting. Subscribe. The more subscribers, the more subscribers we have to the YouTube page, that's the better for us. It gets us, more views and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed doing this again with you, Dr. Earl, and we'll be back for.
Thank you, Michael, Mr. Dutton. Thank you so much.
I did the Dutton last name this time. And we will be back next week for episode 4 of Yellowstone. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.